Our next speaker is Sister Maha Elgenaidi. She is the Executive Director of the Islamic Network Group, and she's the founder of that organization, an author of training handbooks on outreach for American Muslims, as well as training seminars for public institutions on demonstrating cultural competency within the American Muslim community. She has taught classes on Islam in the modern world at Santa Clara University, Stanford University, and the University of California, Santa Cruz, and has been recognized with numerous awards. Please welcome her up with a loud round of applause.
Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Martin Luther King Jr. said about neighbors, the ultimate measure of a person is not where he or she stands in moments of comfort and convenience, but where he and she stands in times of challenge and controversy. The true neighbor, he continues, will risk his or her position, his or her prestige, and even his or her life for the welfare of others. In dangerous valleys and hazardous pathways, he or she will lift some bruised and beaten brothers and or sisters to a higher and more noble life. I want to reflect on this remarkable quote of Martin Luther King because it truly reflects my Islamic teachings, and also because being neighborly has never been more important, especially when our national political leaders are exemplifying just the opposite behavior. The latter should call us to duty. During politically and contentious, difficult times like the time we're living in, ordinary people like you and me must take the initiative, be proactive, and take up the responsibility for creating a more caring and compassionate nation. We cannot rely on others to do this for us. Neighborliness is not only a civic virtue that is fundamental to our Constitution under responsibilities of citizenship, it is also a religious obligation commanded by God and the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. Now I'm going to mention the Prophet a lot in my speech. In the Quran, chapter 4, verse 36, God says, "Worship me and associate nothing with me, and to parents do good, and to relatives, orphans, the needy, and the near neighbor, and the neighbor farther away." That verse in the Quran demonstrates to me that apart from having conviction in God, one has to fulfill obligations towards family, members, take care of the orphans and the poor in their surroundings, and must also fulfill obligations towards close and distant neighbors, regardless of their faith or background. Why? Because neighbors have rights over us. The Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, reportedly said, "One who believes in God and the day of judgment must not cause hardship and inconvenience to his neighbor, must respect his guests, and must speak well or keep quiet." Some of the more foremost rights of neighbors include sharing meals with them. The Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, reportedly said, "Whenever you prepare food, make plenty of it and give some of it to your neighbors." He also said, "That man is not for me who sleeps contentedly while his neighbor sleeps hungry." Another right of neighbors is to ensure their safety. The Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, reportedly said, "By God, he is not a believer. By God, he is not a believer. By God, he is not a believer." He was asked, "Who is that, O Messenger of God?" He said, "One whose neighbor does not feel safe from his evil." One should also be generous with neighbors by gifting them with presents. The Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, reportedly said, "O people, no one of you should consider insignificant a gift to give to his or her neighbor. One should be good to neighbors in all respects." The Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, reportedly said, The best of companions of God is the one who is best in his own companions. And the best of neighbors to God is the one who is the best of them to his neighbor. The prophet also said, the angel Gabriel always advises me to be generous with neighbors, so much so that I thought God would include neighbors among the heirs of a Muslim. Imam Ali ibn al-Hussein, in his Risalat al-Huquq, sums up the rights of neighbors as follows. He says, these are your duties towards your neighbor. He's speaking to Muslims. Protect his interest when he is absent. Show him respect when he is present. Help him when he's inflicted with any injustice. Do not look out to detect his faults. And if by any chance you happen to know any bad thing about him, hide it from others. And at the same time, try to desist him from bad habits, if there's any chance that he will listen to you. Never leave him alone at any calamity. Forgive him if he has done any wrong. In short, live with him a noble life based on the highest Islamic ethical code. All of this speaks to our Islamic tradition with regard to the rights of our neighbors, let alone the rights between Muslims, Sunni, and Shia. So, on this holiday tomorrow, on Monday, as we enjoy our day off in celebration of Martin Luther King, let's remember him and God by putting into practice his teachings and our religious duties and obligations and values by planning to get to know our neighbor and being good neighbors. The organization that I work for, ING, has a website full of ideas and how you might get started on knowing your neighbor. So I urge you to visit our website at ing.org/KYN. KYN stands for Know Your Neighbor. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us the wisdom and spirit for fulfilling the rights of our neighbors, the rights that our neighbors have over us. Ameen.